So this is after going through all the material under that first boulder, and the gold here is really fine, but it's quite a lot. I was actually surprised how much I got this time. G'day, it's Jason here from In Search of Australia. Today I'm in Uralla at the Rocky River, and I'm hoping to get gold and or gemstones. Let's see how we go. So my theory here is it's probably done over a lot because it's so close to the campground, but it is actually all the light material. So what we're seeing here is only sand. I don't think I'll even test pan too much because every tailing I've looked at hasn't had any indicator rocks, anything that would make me go, I better check this out. So I'm going to look further afield and see if there's somewhere better here. This is actually the third time I've been to Uralla. The very first time was the very first time I went fossicking. When I was about 14, came down with my uncle and cousins with a homemade rocker. We didn't get much, but we met someone down here who explained to dig to the clay layer, and he was digging at that rock just over there. I'll see if I can get my finger to it. There you go. This area here, he was digging downstream, and the river was much lower at that time. I came back here with some friends at the end of high school in about 1990, last century, and we tried digging there, exactly the same spot. We got a little bit of gold. It still feels like a first time for me because I'm bringing in a lot more knowledge this time. So hopefully it's going to improve the yield completely. Memory is a strange thing. This is where we camped when I was here with my friends from high school, and you'll see down there is the rock that we dug at. We just sort of mucked around, I guess, and swam about, generally camped. But these are the only familiar signs. Everywhere else, I barely remember. So again, it's like being in a new place. I think I can hear some local wildlife. Oh, there it is. So I've come upriver from the campground just slightly, and I've noticed that there's this huge amount of granite boulders. Some are so big that I doubt they've moved for centuries. Others I'm not so sure, depending on the ferocity of floods and things. And I do notice in amongst the rocks here, a bit more indicator type gravel. So what I'm going to try and do is actually move a boulder and see what I get. So what I've done is I've just moved that boulder there away from the front of this boulder and dug out the material down here. This is just a test pan though, so probably won't record this. I just want to know if it's worth keeping on and trying to find the bigger ones. So this is after going through all the material under that first boulder, and the gold here is really fine, but it's quite a lot. I was actually surprised how much I got this time. This is way more than I got with my cousins and with my friends, and this was only the beginning as a test pan, so I didn't record much. Once I've cleaned up the gold, I was able to show this as well. There's heaps of garnet. Ones like that came out in a sieve. Haven't seen any sapphire yet though. So when I move boulders in the river, you can see where the granite looks quite clean, and that's been buried in gravel and not exposed to any elements like the river or the sun. So I know that what's under here is quite old and hasn't moved a lot. So we'll see what we get out of that. can see the grey black sand level and then normal gravel. So good indicator. I know I'm definitely on the right track. I found this garnet stuck to the bottom of one of the rocks I moved. Plain as day. Good if I do it the right way. So as I empty the pan into the bucket to later sluice, I get the remnants at the base of the pan, and this is after almost one whole bucket, and it's only the remnants, not what's in the sluice bucket if you want. Getting material out of this bucket to go in the sluice, and this was smack bang on the top. Nice piece of garnet. So there's gold caught in the text of the dream mat. And then as I go through, garnet galore. Haven't spotted any sapphires yet. Almost in every little ridge. Clean up from the sluice, had quite a little bit of gold in there, but not an amazing amount. I probably got a half as much just in the bottom of the pan as I was transferring it, so you could probably double it all up for one bucket. It's not too bad. The garnet is just everywhere. But I'm still yet to see blue. Well, I'll clean this up and then try one more boulder. So I had a look upstream and dug a few places. It had just the coarse brown orange sand. So I don't know what's there, or you maybe have to go a lot deeper. It was a little hard to navigate and very perilous going over these boulders. So I'm still following this idea that where this giant flood has pushed these boulders, petered off here. So I've been moving boulders just over here and getting success, while there's a lot more around here, so I might even try and move more and see what I can get in here. But I feel like this is a drop-off point for a lot of things. When you look at the amount of boulders here, the size, they're not that big, but they're sizable to be heavy, and anything else should be here as well. So not even a full pan, and there's 19 specks of gold from what I'd call harder gravel. So it's sort of more packed together and you have to break it up to get it out. I'll keep pursuing that sort of stuff and see what we get. So I had a look upstream, and I think the perilous nature of getting around the boulders here made it really difficult for me with all my equipment. So I had a bit of a test and tended to find the orange sand. So I'm going to follow what I originally thought, and that's, you can see that there's been a flood action here. It's brought massive boulders down. But then they peter off here. So this is sort of like the point at which the current has gone weak, and I'm hoping that this is actually the main drop-off point for a lot of gold and sapphire, or garnet. I'm not really getting much sapphire. The other issue is the Vivor sluice, I just can't find anywhere to set it up properly. Not nearby anyway. There's lots of little tiny streams, and I was able to get the gold rat in, but I'm just going to have to pan, I think. So I levered back this boulder here, and you can see that the soil goes grey. Just put it in the bucket here, and I'll go categorise it and see what's in it. This one's not so good, but it's still got at least 12, 13 specks of gold. With one of those areas that I've moved the boulder from underneath the water, I'm going to use the yabby pump and just see what's left behind. Let's see how we go. Still lots left behind. I feel like I'd be sifting out of that hole forever to get all the gold. Look, I don't even have to dig. I can just leave my shovel in the river and the gold will settle on it. Nah, kidding. That's the mica in the river. Fool's gold. So to be fair on the area, I actually took everything back to the car and brought just the bare essentials up onto these boulders. You'll notice that it's massive, the area up here. It's just really precarious. No. The tailings left by people here is actually making it a little treacherous because each of these rocks are quite round and you slip easily. So the upper reaches was a bust. I barely got anything up there. Still got gold, and it was just a little coarser, but not as numerous. Came back down and same story. Lots of specks per pan, lots of garnet. I'm really starting to see red. And only red. So we're looking at about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 specks. Lots of variations of red. I stopped collecting the garnet after a while because it was getting in the way of me getting the gold. Here's the final cleanup. Have to remove the black sand, but that's pretty good. It's very light gold though, so you're not really getting a great amount of weight, but the speck count was amazing. There's a few little nuggety bits. Using that term loosely. I'd say gold is really what you want to go for here, and just possibly get a sapphire or a large garnet. If you like your small garnet, you're going to have fun.